Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. And you say Shot City. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show. The Tailgate Show.
Welcome to another episode of The Tailgate Show, guys. It's starting to become a little bit of a struggle, huh? Man,
COVID
honestly,
clause is coming to town, baby.
All the podcasters, all the reporters, all the people that have been covering this team in their own way, man. We're a faithful bunch, man. It's been wild. And now you got the COVID news out. What do we got? If I missed a name, let me know. You got Elijah Wilkinson, Allen Robinson, Eddie Jackson, Mario Edwards, Larry Borum, Artie Burns, Eddie Goldman, Bill Lazor, Chris Tabor, and Sean Desai.
Yeah, I think he hit every one of them.
Damn.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And then the illness report. the illness report sounds odd because I guess they're calling it an illness, but you can't. I guess they're not. I guess Baker Mayfield came out tonight and basically said they're not even testing the guys that are have the vaccination. So if you don't have symptoms, so you can still spread it though.
Yeah,
it's
they're
just,
doing that at my work. They're doing that at my job too. It's like if you're vaccinated, it's crazy.
Would shut down if not. Yeah. But
exactly.
look at the illness list too, man. We're sitting here trying to do a game preview, and we don't even know who's going to be on the field for either team.
Santa's going to have to reach deep into his sleigh and pull out those practice squad heroes.
Yeah, it might end up being like a preseason game, like in the fourth quarter lineup. We don't even know. It's kind of.
Daz Newsome put out there that maybe he's going to get the call. Put a little hint out on his social media.
Do they have any other choice? I mean, I guess Elijah Wilkinson. I'm sorry. Fetty's coming back potentially. He's on a 3-day window of return or something like that. And then you got Shelley.
Right.
We're going to need him.
Why not bring Thomas Graham up at this point over Duke Shelley? Thomas Graham?
He's not
Thomas Graham, draft pick.
He's on the practice squad?
Yeah. Still in the practice squad is one of the players they protected this week, along with Snowden.
Oh, I didn't think he was around anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
he was brutal in the preseason, but I guess
for sure. And I get the whole Nagy's coaching for his job, maybe that door's already sealed. So
that door's already slammed shut.
He's not prioritizing playing young talent over, a veteran. So I get that whole conversation. But if the Bears were smart, that's what they would be doing right now.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, still in the practice squad. One of 4 guys that they protected this week, along with Snowden, Isaiah Coulter, and somebody else. Hey, Yokub in the house.
Yokub, what's up?
When he's not busy threatening to stab Pete Carroll, he is in our chat.
What's up? That was good seeing him in the chat, man. It's been a minute. He's probably been trying on Twitter, and Twitter hasn't been working with comments for StreamYard, so we apologize for that. But
I retweeted the YouTube link, so
cool. Yeah, man.
Look at you.
And then you have the report also coming out. NBC Sports just put out a report a couple hours ago that the Bears are looking through back channels for replacements for Pace, possibly. One person, I guess, is a director of college scouting for a team. So I don't know. I mean,
did they name on that, or
there was no names named on
name.
it, but no, you got the guys that seemed of interest to me is Morocco Brown has been with the Steelers since 2013. Just trying to look at organizations that have been pretty good with the draft. Because I want McDaniels here, I looked up who the Patriots guy was. It's Matt Groh. He's been there 11 years.
That seems like a familiar name. I feel like I've heard that name a few times.
Our old receiver coach when Alshon was here, last name was Groh.
Al Groh.
Mike Groh.
Right.
Mike Groh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And the Joe Horowitz for the Ravens. And then you got the Jeff Ireland thing if they tap into the Saints tree again.
Yeah.
So I
don't know that you can hold too much stock into that, considering where the Saints are right now.
Sure, there's a ton of his draft picks on that team, though.
Yeah, I guess, but what are
They
they
didn't really
doing?
care for his tenure in Miami either. I think I'd pass on a retreat like that. Dobbs from Indianapolis intrigues me.
Jason Light, right? The Tampa Bay GM.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was a finalist to be our GM.
Really?
Back in the day, probably the Trestman. I would assume it was back in the Trestman time.
That might be a name that comes and resurfaces.
He's the GM of the Bucks, bro.
Yeah, I don't think he's going anywhere. I think Brady really saved his tenure because there's a lot of talent on that roster. But I'm just saying, before Brady got there, it was a below 500 team, and he was probably on his way out the door if you didn't hit that Brady mark. He's mad.
Yeah, probably. No, I don't think he is. I think there's something else going on.
He doesn't want to hear about the Brady talk.
Yeah, you done kissing Brady's ring, bro?
Dude, it's fact, Jason Light's tenure in Tampa Bay was marred by sub 500 records year in, year out. And
he did draft Jameis. Is he responsible for Jameis Winston?
I believe he is.
Yikes.
So you look a lot better when you get that quarterback right.
Yeah, imagine that.
It's just interesting because it really does sound like change is coming. It's not just
the smoke's gone. It's full blown 4-alarm.
I'm hoping it's accurate, man. Like they need to reset hard and not do Bears things like they normally do. Like they need to bring the guys in, like the alphas, not the guys that are just gonna be proud to walk into Hallis Hall.
No, it's time. It's time for a full blown. Yeah, we know what this organization was, and we don't like it, and we want to change it kind of attitude.
I mean, I just want a head coach to come in here and with a vision and be that dude. Like the GM has to run shit off of that has a vision and wants to get the players in that fit into that vision.
Yeah, they especially
not just patching up. Like Pace is just like trying to get the best talent, acquire the best talent to patch up the mistakes.
Yep. Patching holes on
MO.
a sinking ship. But I think they really need to do it in season now on the cusp of that owner's vote that just passed. I believe it was yesterday or 2 days ago. That now officially you can interview guys within the last 2 weeks of the regular season. So
yeah, and the Jags and Raiders are basically advertising they're in the market.
Yeah.
I'm kind of surprised with the Raiders. I'm surprised with the Raiders, though. I really thought they were getting somewhere with their coach, their interim.
Well, you can't just hand them the job, though. You're going to interview if somebody better.
Obviously.
No, I get your point, though, Jer. First couple of weeks, they actually came out looking pretty solid.
That's
beat a good Dallas team.
That offense is completely different, though, when Darren Waller goes out.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, that happens, though. I don't know if you guys – didn't Perry Fuel take over for the he used to be on the Bears. He took over for the Bills for a little bit.
Yep.
Was that and they caught a little fire. We've seen that before. I don't know how often those guys are usually retained.
I think the most recent one was Freddie Kitchens in there with the Browns, and that ended terribly, horribly. Bruce Arians is probably the most effective one, but they didn't even keep him. He just parlayed that into the next job, which should have been Chicago.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Mock interviews, anyone? Mock press conferences, I should say.
What do you all take from the recent reports with Ted Phillips seemingly distancing himself more from football ops? Do you put any stock into that?
I think everything. I mean, and kudos to Dan Wiederer, man. He wrote a freaking novel. I mean, I that dude can freaking write.
I paid the $1. You sold me on it. I paid for it.
Was it not worth it?
Yeah, it was worth it. Yeah, that article was definitely worth $1.
It was like it was basically summarizing everything we've been saying.
Right.
You know, like it's the fans' voice, but it was also put like with legitimate sources to it, like names to it, former Bears. Like it was dope, man. Like anyway, it just seems like that was almost written for McCaskey to read because they're not going to really hear our voice like that, but somebody like Wiederer writing in the Tribune. They're seeing that. So I thought it. I don't think it's going to fall on deaf ears. I think that's something we need. This fan base needed that to happen from a major journalist for the city.
Yeah,
I agree.
And that he went in. I mean, he went in.
You've got to. Things have to change in some way, in so many ways. The honeymoon's over. It's been over for a while. You got 30th ranked offense. You got half your fucking teams on COVID protocol. After they were praised for managing the COVID protocol last year, obviously it's run amok. I mean,
yeah.
It's a team in disarray. It's a team that, Jalen Johnson has hinted that half the locker room's already in the tank, and the other half's fighting to keep their job.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he said that. Like, I'm not surprised to hear it. I mean, we see it.
Yeah.
Well, he is also the one that was complaining about earlier in the year being fined for being late to practice. So you gotta take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But
grind in the stone, so to speak.
Well, Strahan didn't bitch, but he came out and basically said, I got fined for being like a minute late to practice. I think it was when Coughlin was there. You can't look into that deeply. I think that was just a young kid mistake.
Right.
They probably all bitch about it behind closed doors. Like 1 minute late. Like, bro, like how long have you been late with play calling?
No doubt.
I'm just saying, that's where you're gonna lose a locker room. You want to have that iron fist, but you're not even handling your own shit for this team.
Well, I wonder who's gonna handle the shit for this team this week, since you've got all the coordinators are.
Oh, Nagy's probably like in heaven. Can you imagine the size
rolling
of
up a fake punt sweep right now?
Yeah.
He's going to have to bring the whole wall with him from his house with all the defensive calls, special team calls, and offensive calls.
I mean, I would obviously assume you delegate some of that, but
what if it all looks better?
I think
with all these,
that's one thing I was just thinking about. We don't.
Then it's still an indictment on Nagy because he hired all those fuckers.
No, but that would be like it's never going to happen.
It would be comical though.
Dude, all these dudes out, all these dudes potentially more guys out, right? Key players, and we come out with just Nagy taking care of all three phases, and the fucking team looks great. Like, and then George will be like, "Well, they had that
dude, yes." Doomsday scenario. I'd be like, they really stuck together through the adversity. That's why they're our football guys.
Oh my god, man!
They don't come to think. The team never comes to things naturally. It always ends up that it just falls on them. See the kicker.
Falls on them, bro. What the fuck falls on them?
I'm just saying, nothing ever. If you get something right, it's not because they actually studied and did the things that they should have done and picked the right person. It's always they stumble into, like, the
Justin
kicker
Fields
situation.
falling in the trap.
Justin Fields falling, trading up.
This stumble into shit. Like, stumble into is like a team that actually wins consistently. Because they happen to just get this player that nobody saw coming. Pause. Stumbling into an average kicker.
Average? We're talking a record breaker, record holder here in Chicago. You put some respect on Carlos's name, sir.
You like soccer, bro?
Dude, love soccer.
Figures you love soccer.
I'm joking, dude. That's probably one of my top 3 worst sports of all time.
No, I'm just saying when you're
watch it.
When you're acting like, oh, we stumbled upon a kicker, like that's the bar.
Yeah, that's our consolation prize. Hey, you got to take the small wins, man. I think this fan base has become more apathetic right now than during some of those John Fox years. So I'm trying to look for every silver lining possible.
But John Fox,
I think
he doesn't coordinate the offense, doesn't coordinate the defense, doesn't coordinate the special teams, but he coordinates all three.
Yeah,
that's the hero.
I think the thought was he was holding back Mitch. Everybody wanted Mitch to play. This isn't the case here. Like, people feel bad for Fields because of how bad things are, but they're also looking towards the future with Fields. So there's still optimism there, and we know it's on Nagy at this point.
Correct.
Where the whole thing with Fox just didn't. I mean, he went out of his way because Mitch wasn't his guy.
Yeah, in hindsight, he was 110% correct.
Yes.
He
So
wanted
far.
Watson
And he brought in Carlos Santos to begin with. So who's the true king here?
Yeah.
That was a
crazy.
joke. He's not a king. He was riding that golden parachute to retirement, but
I'm just freaking saying yeah, just to sympathize with whatever you just said.
Hey, we're doing a pod here. You know that, right?
Yeah, we're here.
Oh yeah.
Good
so
times.
guys, playing the Vikings. I mean, their fan base is kind of in the same position where it's like fire the coach, fire the GM. Like you got two struggling fan bases going into this one, boys. And we used to be able to like shitting on Cousins used to be easy, but because we had a defense that could give him hell,
make him look stupid.
But yeah, man, I mean,
1-9 in primetime games. I think that changes this week.
I mean, he beat us. He beat us last time when we were talking that shit about Soldier Field, ghosts, and all that stuff. And
yep,
true.
So who knows? But I guess let's get into the whole next thing. Is like, let's go around and I mean, one offensive player that actually like scares you from the Vikings. Not scares you, but concern. Let's call it concern because once we go through two, we're probably digging deep. And
Biscuits, you go take the lead on that one. Mine's going to be an under the radar guy.
Well, I'm going to take one of the two low-hanging fruit and say Dalvin Cook. Now, the bonus is looks like we will have Akeem Hicks back on the line. But for a guy who broke out against us last time with the tune of 129 yards, defense that has struggled to stop the run all year long, I believe we are 28th in rushing yards allowed. So... and a Vikings team that's 11th or 10th in rushing yards per game. I think the front seven's really going to have a heck of a time.
It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle. Brian, you want second?
You can go, Jay.
My guy's Tyler Conklin. He's a good blocker on the end, tight end, catches a lot of balls in the flats.
Yep.
If you can take it, and he plays the check down role well. I think you saw him used a lot in the Dallas game. You saw him used a lot in a couple other games. Tight end's going to be a struggle, and you got a linebacker core that's beat up. Who knows? Who the hell knows is going to play? I mean, that guy could have a couple of touchdowns. Just because you're so focused on the other two guys.
I do agree with you, Jared. The only thing, and I don't think this guy's capable of it with what he has available, but they're a little bit depleted at the wide receiver position right now. Like Jefferson is the dog, like of course, but like
he's
I think
the beast.
Thielen's still hurt. I don't know if he's going to play this game or not. When you have a guy like Thielen in there, you can't over focus on a tight end. But I don't know. I don't know how it plays out, but I think that's definitely like we've tight ends have given us some problems.
I just feel like the check down game is so big with what Minnesota does, and Conklin's such a big part of it.
He is. He's playing well.
You have to find a way to slow him down. And I shouldn't say slow him down, but he's not going to be Justin Jefferson. He's not. Was it Irv Smith? Is that their other tight end that they had on their roster?
Yeah, Chris Herndon's now their backup.
So I mean, Conkey's made a few plays. You gotta get after him.
Well, and to tag on what B said, I know Thielen's probably not going to play with that high ankle sprain. That's usually a couple week injury there. But a guy that's emerged in the last couple weeks is Osborne. I don't want to compare him to Thielen because it's just not the same type of receiver, not the same production there. But I think whoever is going to be matched up on Osborne obviously won't be Jalen. I think they will have their hands full a little bit.
If you're the Vikings, do you even rush Thielen? There's knowing that this team is depleted. I'd be like, you know what? You just sit back here, chill out.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, with the people that we're probably going to have out, the pressure from the front seven, this could be a hard fucking task.
Robert Quinn's got to play more than one quarter. I love
Dude,
him. He's got plenty of sacks, but
you
we need
could
more out of him.
you could triple team him. Who else are you worried about right now?
True. Well, hopefully with Akeem coming back, and
I mean, Travis has flashed, but it's just not consistent. So I agree with you. No, I agree with you, Brian. I think Robert Quinn what he has to do this week is be better in run support, which is not really his strength. But I think that I'm not really worried so much about his pass rushing this week. He just really needs to be good on that edge and not get suckered in, which he has a tendency of doing.
Yeah, I agree, man. I
sorry, I kind of jumped the gun on that one, but
no, you're good,
You're
man.
right.
So also a guy on defense that concerns you. I'll just throw mine in
Did
there.
you give us our offense? Did you get your offensive pick?
No, I didn't. Sorry, I was listening to you guys bullshit about other guys, and I had to start crossing guys off and shit. So yeah.
Gonna take the other one, the other low hanging fruit.
It's Kirk Cousins because of the fact that, dude, I know we like to shit on him, right? But like 3,569 yards, 27 touchdowns, 5 picks with like 103.5 rating, dude. So like, yeah, I know he's.
I hate to say that.
Blowing our load over that.
Exactly, and I know I know he's easy to shit on because he's Cutler-esque, but
he's efficient,
especially in this game with like Goldman and like the guys and potentially Eddie.
Yeah,
right.
Say what you want, Eddie pisses us off, right? But he's been playing solid the last couple of games.
Yeah, he has.
And you could see for what we have on this roster, you can see the difference when Eddie's not in there.
Well, he was forced to play that nickel slot after he demolished the other corner. We're in dire straits. I mean,
I just think Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, man. Like he's, especially in this situation where we've been struggling and the guys that we have out, I think he's somebody to be very concerned about.
Where would you rate him in the NFL right now if you were like a top 10, top 15?
Probably 15 just because of his inconsistencies.
I'd put him in that 10 to 13 range, somewhere in there.
I don't say 10. I'd put him inside the top 10.
Now, if you're talking about, going into the postseason, no, he's probably not going to be in my top 10. But, I mean, as Diddy said, say what you want. In the regular season, the guy has produced. Just has a knack to throw a bad pick in the big game.
Minnesota's such a weird team, man. They've had leads in every game, and they somehow have found a way to piss it away. It's just weird.
It's very weird because in some ways you think the things that they're doing, yeah, I agree with you. They should be much better than they are.
I mean, they were at what 24-0 against Pittsburgh, and that Pittsburgh made that a game. Like how? And that's why you get into the hot seat with Zimmer and that whole coaching staff. I think that's where a lot of his hot seat action comes from. Pause.
They beat Green Bay, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Lost to the Lions. Figure this team out. I mean, it's
very inconsistent.
Yes. And I know they were being beat up. And we'll talk about where they're getting healthy at here in just a second when we go to our next little topic about this team. But they're starting to get healthy.
We can get into the defensive player that you're most concerned about. I'll go first. It's Harrison Smith for me. I mean,
of course, because he's Notre Dame.
Because he's 32 years old, already has 83 tackles. Like he's still a beast, dude. And he takes quarterbacks out.
Polish the dome. Here we go.
You don't you don't think we could use a dog like that?
Oh my God, I'd kill for him. I know that, but
that's what I'm saying. Like
it's just you and Notre Dame. Somebody, I gotta.
No, you know what it is, man. It's kind of like Atwater back in the day, like Steve Atwater. Like it's hard to play physically dominant safety in the NFL nowadays, and he's still a throwback. To be able
he's not afraid to hit you late.
Which I think something that this defense is lacking. A little bit of
Bro,
attitude, a little bit of edge
you'd
to it.
love him here, though. I hate him there. I
Yep.
hate him going against my team. I hate what he did to good old Mitchie Poo. But like to have that on your team, you love it.
Yeah.
True.
He's
So-
Jared Allen-esque. A player you absolutely could not stand from afar, but when he came here, albeit it was short, brief, and his production wasn't
Jared
great.
Allen was so brutal,
Dude,
bro.
I liked, but as soon as he signed here, it was like his attitude. I was like, you know what? I'm a Jared Allen guy now. Like he's
I
just
couldn't
that kind of
stand
guy.
the lasso bullshit.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's just one of those players like Harrison Smith. You hate him from afar, but if he was on your team, you would clearly take him.
You talk about a guy that developed, Jared Allen. He was a long snapper.
Yeah.
He was a long snapper and developed into that kind of pass rusher.
The thing with him, man,
Just-
like,
Don't give Nagy any ideas. Patrick Scales will be out there.
the only thing,
Fuck yeah.
the only thing he did here though is
You might have to.
He rocked the 69, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they
what did he
tried
have,
turning him into an
3
outside
sacks
linebacker here.
total, maybe.
Yeah, it was so
Yeah.
bad on the line. They tried playing him outside linebacker. It's just like it was brutal.
I don't even think he
He was-
finished that season either.
I don't
No,
know.
he ended up at Carolina.
That's what it was. Yep. Yeah.
Crazy. So how about you guys, man? What do you got for? We'll go with JR on this one. Defensive
Oh, that whole defensive front. They've been beat up and they're starting to get healthy.
That's trenches, bro.
Well, it's where I'm concerned at.
Yeah, but
I
give me
mean-
one guy.
Well, it's not going to be Griff. He's kind of busy.
Ooh, low blow, man.
Yeah, dude.
Low
Wow.
blow.
I don't know.
If you're listening, mental health is definitely important, and
Sure.
reach out to somebody if you are having trouble
Yeah,
with that. And
Definitely.
I'll leave it at that.
I mean, that defensive line is getting healthy, and that's going to be a problem for our offensive line. That's all I know.
All right, so I'm going to go with Eric Kendricks. Came back last week, had a definite impact in that game. He can do it all.
Yeah.
Run support, can cover the tight ends over the middle, sideline lateral speed, pretty damn good. And I think looking at what our main focus should be in this game, obviously for the last couple of weeks, it's pound the football, control the clock. I think that needs to continue. So he's a guy that can blow a lot of things up in the running game. That's my guy on defense that I worry about.
All right, and so we'll kind of move forward to like key matchups in this game. It's kind of tough, man. It's kind of tough to like dig that deep right now because we don't know who. But like, say some guys, whatever you kind of had on your mind there. Like I had, mine doesn't matter anymore. Like I thought it was Mooney versus Breland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was before you heard about A-Rob. So I don't know, man. Like,
Yep.
What are you guys thinking?
Matchup's going to be if we can block anybody on that left tackle side. And now we got to worry about right tackle because Bourne's out. Do you throw Ifedi back in there? Do you let Elijah Wilkinson, who's coming off of?
We are skipping the trenches segment. Go ahead, bud.
Sorry.
No, go for it.
I mean, it's just you got to be able to block. And that's where it's at. And if you can't get them blocked up, I mean, the trenches are so important in this game because
Yeah.
not just because of COVID injury.
That's why I tried making it a segment.
I know, and I'm blowing that out of the water.
All right, so we're in trench segment now. Let's transition.
I mean, what do you do with that front line? Do you let the Notre Dame boy get a shot at right tackle? I mean,
Dude, so I completely agree with what you're saying, man. And the matchup thing is kind of ridiculous to try to figure out anyway at this point. But
right.
the trenches are important, but the wild freaking thing about all of this, right? We're up there in sacks. We're not up there in pressure percentage.
Right.
Right. Where Minnesota, this is what confuses me about the Vikings. They're first in the league in sacks and like fourth in pressure percentage. They're disruptive, right?
Yep.
That's the kind of front that you think that would be like a first place team.
Is it Danielle Hunter? Isn't that one of them?
It's pretty dominant, man. But in us, we've given up the 31st we're 31st in sack give-ups.
Oh yeah.
So
Things have to move quickly. You have to go quick. And this is a cornerback
slant game. We
Now,
finally
that's
started
where-
seeing it.
Now this is where you might have some success. You know, the cornerback crew back there is kind of iffy at times. You can get them. You know, you don't give up, 28 or however many you give up to Pittsburgh in a hurry like that. It might be something that you can take advantage of.
We're also dead last in passing yards at 176 per game.
Oh, yes.
I mean, for me, I'd just run the shit out of the football.
Do you go full Baltimore?
No, I don't. You don't. Not with Fields.
You're not probably going to let him.
bro.
Yeah, you're probably not going to let him run a whole lot. They've already seemed so reluctant to run a shit ton of RPO. Make it a heavy emphasis of the game plan. I just don't see them doing that.
I mean, I'm a little nervous going into this one, boys. It's like Mustafa.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, right? But now you're putting in potentially more on like if Fetty's healthy, we'll be all right there. But it's.
And the worst part about that is they'll call 5-man protections to open up that game.
Oh, yeah. And we got to see what we have at
they
left
can't.
tackle. I mean, if Peters can come back, he didn't participate in practice today. You're stuck with a rookie out on the left tackle. You know, that can get very dicey real quick. Jenkins has got a long way to go.
Looked rough, and apparently they said that they're sticking with him at left. They're not wanting to put him back over at right. I mean, I think
That was a surprise move. I'm actually surprised you said that.
it's a lost season, but I still think you need to give him the reps, and you just have to suffer through some of these penalties and mistakes that he's going to have. And I know obviously it puts Justin at risk back there, but I think it's critical going into year 2 that he at least has some reps under his belt, and he's not going into the off season with just that one bit of game experience.
I like to see Jesse James in there more. I mean, this is a guy that he had.
Is he on the list?
He's on the COVID list.
God, I didn't know that. 'Cause I
Just
said
for
all the names.
Horsted, come on down. Who also did not participate.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't
Cool.
know he was on the list, man.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you said that one at the beginning. Yep, he's on the list. Unfortunately.
The naughty list.
Well, quick game. I mean, we did see a slant. Maybe we can see more.
Jakeem Grant, come on down. You're going to get your opportunity again.
You got to go quick game with this front.
We've got speed. Speed isn't the issue. It's
all static route combinations. That
yes. Give me
take
run
advantage of that
six.
speed.
Game. I'm not talking about quick players. I'm just talking about quick game.
Right. I know.
And
You've got the receivers that you could run a quick game and they could break away. I mean, you saw Demir Bird, even though it was one time, he can do it. You've seen it.
Tell you what, I'd be a lot more comfortable with Josh McDaniels going into this game as our head coach. Just saying.
Oh my God. I agree.
He'll be in Jacksonville coaching up Trevor Lawrence next year.
Why? I don't know if he'd leave for that. I don't know if he'd leave for this. So
He would definitely not leave for this. I think he's smarter than that.
A lot of strip clubs in Jacksonville. That's all I'm going to say.
Is that one of Josh's hobbies?
Mm.
I don't know. He seems like the guy that pretty much locks himself in a room and just watches tape all day.
You would have to.
And
Didn't a Bears
develops
fan
a,
get,
Lead me not into temptation, my friends.
Didn't a Bears fan get stabbed and killed at a Bears Jaguars game in the
Yeah.
bar after? Yeah.
Yes, he did. Yep.
Damn.
Jared's just going to the strip clubs there like it's nothing.
Well, if he's the Jaguars head coach, I think he'll be
It's
safe in those
Duval.
establishments.
Well, and this is the risky run when you bring in a big time college coach. Saban was a total douchebag when he came here, when he went to Miami.
Yeah.
Correct.
I said came here. God.
So are your feelings of Ryan Day any Are they stronger, weaker?
They asked him in a press conference. He was just like, I'm happy at Ohio State.
Which he is. He should be.
They asked him specifically about the Bears. He was like, those conversations haven't happened, and I'm happy at Ohio State. So,
What do you expect him to say? Well, yeah, I really love the Bears job. I hope they call me soon. He's not going to say shit like that.
They would have to. So, how Bears is this? All right, you want to talk about?
Right.
They would have to buy him out for about $20 million, and then
Is
probably
what's
buy
happening?
him. Yeah,
Damn.
and then they would have to pay him about $10 million to just to get here a year.
Oh, book it. It's happening.
File that under no fucking chance.
This is an organization that won't even fire a coach. They have to pay him like.
Brian Pace is the
$8
GM
million.
still. You got a chance.
I would. I wouldn't mind it, man. Of course, but paying that. Could you see the Bears actually buying somebody out of their contract at that price?
No, I can't see them paying $10 million a year. Aren't the rumors that Matt's only making like $5 a year?
I'm not sure. They're so secretive.
Well, they're getting screwed. They're only paying him $5 million.
You used to be able to just find out coaches' contracts. It was never a big deal, but the Nagy stuff, I don't know. It's been kind of secretive, him and Pace. So it might be $5 million. I mean, shit, he should consider himself lucky.
I think you asked the Ted question earlier. I don't think either one of us answered it, but the distancing with Ted Phillips, did we talk? I mean, I know you asked it, but did we really talk about it?
I think we danced around it. I mean, we've heard these rumors before. We've heard this talk before.
We wanted it to happen.
Yeah,
Right.
For as long as I can remember.
I thought, but now he's going against what he said in the offseason. I'm not involved in football.
Well, isn't it 2023 by certain sources?
Now he's saying he's distancing himself from football. These dudes are just like, whatever. Just take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
And I think it's funny. He said, well, I'm not involved in football decisions, yet he's been a part of the process that led to the last two general managers. You already saw him in the draft room when Fields was taken. Certainly looked like a guy that was part of conversations.
Well, Hogue, Johns, McKee, and Kurtz had a really good show this week, and they discussed it. They meet every week with the coaches.
Collaboration.
Weekly. It's like,
what the fuck is
what are you
Ted
doing?
telling them? Like, oh, yeah, we should really stick with Tevin on the left side.
Weekly's not that much. I mean, Jerry Jones is probably every practice, every meeting, every.
Well, I just.
Jerry Jones at least has some football background, though. I mean,
he's won some rings. He's won something.
I'm not comparing the two. I'm saying the guy is very involved with football day to day. He's always around. So, like I'm saying, the ownership meeting with Nagy once a week. It's like
and discuss nothing.
Yes.
Well,
I mean, can you imagine that meeting? It's like, oh, all right, well, meeting time, and and that's about it.
That's how they got Spain in football risk. That's great. I'm sorry. That's a great,
football risk
comment. Yeah, what was it? Spain and what was the other country?
UK. United Kingdom.
How about that?
We hired the first Indian descent
We should send a letter.
coordinator, and we
just
can't
for
even
production. Just for production value, let people finish their thoughts before you let it be interrupted with comments in the chat. I'm just saying, moderator, work on your shit. So
Salt Diddy.
I'm saying, go ahead, Biscuits, start talking. I'll throw a freaking comment in.
Go for it. God damn, what do you think I'm gonna do?
All I was gonna say is they probably just sit there and get bullshitted by Pace and Nagy and let it go in one ear out the other. That's probably how the conversation goes down. So, but
I can't even imagine, like, as a coach, wouldn't that be just like a waste of time? I mean, that's hours. That's an hour or two that you could be spending. I mean, not.
Chair, like more prep time's gonna help this motherfucker.
Fuck off, Diddy.
More prep time.
No, I'm just saying that
he can't help himself. Friends, don't let your friends moderate.
Because now I know that it bothers you. Because now I'm now even more inclined to push the button.
Cool. You haven't been here long enough to push the button, bro.
Oh, then let me exit stage left.
Like, would you like if you're a new coach and this was the standard, would you accept that as the standard? It's like, oh, well, you'll have to meet with these assholes once a week that are going to try to tell you and their fucking bean counters. I mean, that shouldn't even be a goddamn, that'd be like a no way.
Well, you've labeled them your football guys. So I don't get what purpose it serves to meet with them every single week. And if they're truly your football guys, let them fucking do their jobs week to week.
Yeah, but they're informing you what they're doing. That's all it is. Twiddledee and Twiddledum need to be told what's going on because they don't understand football. It's their weekly little briefing. That's exactly what it is.
And that's why this franchise is where it's at right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's been there.
He said, "I'm not a closer, and I don't get any coffee." It's fucked up. Man, keep up with the chat. Come on, multitask.
You don't keep up with every chat. You put a couple good ones in.
Oh,
like
my
once you have them text, you, or if you need a couple minutes,
hey,
you guys can go be alone.
We love you. Thank you for hopping in the chat. I'm sorry, Fitty is very salty right now.
No, not salty. Why don't you FaceTime them, and we'll give you a couple minutes off screen, and you guys could just go off into a closet and do what you need to do.
This guy. Look, first he walked away off screen because I mentioned Tom Brady.
That was actually
in a point that had a lot of validity. And now he's getting upset because we have a listener in the chat chiming in on things he doesn't agree with.
No, I just...
Hey, Yakub, tell McDaniels is God, and then maybe he'll give you some...
Why don't you just call him on the phone, bro? The amount you keep going back and forth. My God, we're not...
Oh, my Lord. I'm not even controlling the comments. I'm not even putting them up on the screen.
Mr. I need bullet points. And this is you're going all off the reservation. So you know what? That's cool.
Okay.
This is CJ, and then they wonder why I don't put effort in, Jay. You know what I
mean? You know what's funny is it's never Diddy's fault on anything. That's what I find funny. And he's the one that sent the flow chart and sent it multiple times in the thread, I would add.
Oh, I absolutely did
because to get us to respond back to it. So
because somebody wanted it.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, you didn't have to oblige me. You could have just not done it.
All right. Well, I guess next time I just won't do it.
Oh, Josh, please come here and
How about some
Josh.
stats? Should we have some stats for us?
Let me cradle your balls, Josh. Oh.
Wow, bro. It says fucking Lord Brady all the time. You dumb shit.
You can dish it.
Lord Brady every week.
Oh God! Thanks, Bears. Fucking thank you, Bears. This is what we get.
He's really taking this shit seriously. That's the funny part.
I'm not sure. I think you're the one that's a little upset that me and Ty Ukub are having a little moment here. Okay.
Wow. This has turned into a conversation in a chat. And I'm just going to bounce out and let you two go at it. Have fun.
Hey, I think this was on the flow chart you sent. It was called Time with Yakub. It's like, cool. So, Christopher, what do you got for us? No. So, what's the next segment on the flow chart, Diddy?
Let's hear some stats there.
You want to hear some hot stats? Okay.
Well done.
We should just probably skip over the Bears stats because we already know we're pretty much last in everything.
Except for rushing. Where are we in rushing?
So rushing yards, we're 7th, 126 yards per game.
Nice.
Passing, obviously, we covered that we're dead last. We are 28th in scoring, and we're 24th on defense in scoring allowed. Quite a bit of regression under Desai. Granted, there's been some injuries there, but I think that honeymoon has also ended with him. So Kirk Cousins 1-9 on Monday Night Football. His passer rating.
Where was his one at?
Chicago.
Yeah, funny how that works, right?
Get ready for 2-9. Yeah, that's really all the. There's really not a whole lot of good stats this week, boys.
No, there is not.
Vikings offense, third ranked in total yards, checking in just under 400 yards a game. They're 11th in scoring, putting up 26.5 points a game. I'd take the over on that. 10th in rushing yards, 7th in passing yards. So defense is going to have their hands cut out for them.
We don't even know who's on the defense right now. It's just so fucked up, man. This team.
Our defense is probably going to disappear like Diddy on this pod. It's going to be rough.
He said, "Fuck y'all, oh y'all."
And that's
he's back.
And that's what a good producer does. He got back on fucking focus, and then he actually made a comment about something that's going on in the show. Yes, I see. Now you're focused, bro. Good. All right, we're good. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you,
welcome.
bro.
You're welcome.
Yeah. All right, snapped you out of it. It's okay because the edible's hitting, isn't it, bro?
A little bit.
I can tell. It's all right, man. We're having a good time. It's a
that's why I needed the flow chart.
We're having a good time, man. It's Christmas time.
He's like, oh shit, did he left? Now I need to say
COVID
something.
Claus came to town and gave us all the Rona. Merry Christmas, you fucks.
It's hard, man. I mean, look, we're beefing with each other. This is a hard freaking time, man.
God, it sucks.
It was more entertaining than the last couple weeks of Bears football. I'll say that. I was more invested in our argument right there than I have been the past couple weeks.
Cool, man.
He's going off.
I shouldn't even look at that shit right now because I'm gonna be a hypocrite. So anyway, I guess I'm not doing that. I'm not doing Diddy's wet dream because it's just.
I was looking forward to that segment.
No, because this week will fuck up a wet dream. You know what I mean? Like
Was your wet dream Josh McDaniels?
No, I just wanted Justin to throw for 350 yards, 6 touchdowns, rush for 2. Just go off.
So like a Tampa Mitch game.
Oh yeah, I want that moment, man. It just sucks. Like I think long term this is gonna be good for Justin, as weird as that sounds, because it doesn't get much worse than this.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think this kid.
Unless we start talking about a Cade McNown tenure.
Well, I don't think he expected this as a rookie. What this organization is expecting a rookie to be able to accomplish with everything going on around him. Like this is stuff that like guys that have arrived can handle. Not a rookie. There's a lot of pressure on this kid, and I'm not making excuses for him. He hasn't lived up to what we thought he would his rookie year. I understand that. But he's my dude, man. Like the way he's like Mitch would have crumbled, and I'm not trying to compare the two, right? But he couldn't even watch TVs and shit. He's still out there in front of the media. He's still even keel. You know what I mean? He's just like he's taking it all in, and I think what you're going to see is him in the offseason realizing what this game, how bad it can get, and just work on becoming that guy. Like this could end up being a very good experience for him long term, even though it's just been brutal to watch, man.
Do you, as an ownership team, go to a guy like Justin and be like, "Hey, what do you like? What kind of coaching leadership do you like?"
I mean, to an extent.
It's all. I mean, we have talked about this from the beginning. It's all about Justin, right?
Yeah, but you can't give a. He's still a young quarterback. I don't know if you can really like a guy like Rodgers should get that treatment.
Yeah,
right.
I don't. Of course, like input, sure, but I don't know how much. Like, it's not going to be 75% of the decision. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm with Diddy on that. I think there's a fine line between taking a little bit of his input and kind of getting an idea of what maybe he would be most comfortable with, but ultimately, I don't think you're hiring a coach for the next 4 to 5 years based solely on what is just going to make him happy. At the end of the day, and I know we need a franchise quarterback. We want that. But at the end of the day, it's about the Chicago Bears as a team.
Did you say at the end of the day? That's an old school drink.
I think you definitely have Justin meet with the guys you're interviewing just so they can get a vibe of each other and get that feedback from both sides.
The bottom line is you want him to have that a little bit of input, which I think is a very huge thing for his future.
I think it should be all the guys you envision being the future of this team. I think it should be Justin, Monty, and Roquan and Jalen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't just be one guy. We got a bunch of young guys that are what we feel are I can't speak for you guys, but what I feel are building blocks.
Yeah.
Those are
You got guys behind him.
So that's actually a good question. What would you guys? So start with the offense. Who are the offensive building blocks here that you absolutely have to move forward with? Because this has been a hot discussion on Twitter, and I think sometimes as fans, and I'm sure this happens in every fan base group, but we have a tendency to overvalue the talent we have on hand. So what are some young building blocks on offense to start that you think we have to build around and keep? Obviously, besides Justin.
Monty.
That goes without saying. Okay, so you got
Go
Monty.
Brian, you got first. Go.
All right. Monty, Herbert, too, because that 1-2 punch is, I think, going to be pretty sick.
I think you've seen the running back by committee in the NFL is a big thing, and you got to have to.
So knowing that, just to stop you midway here, knowing that Monty is going into his last season in 2022, is there a threshold before you say, I don't want to pay him that, and I'm just going to draft a replacement to then work with Herbert? Or is he a guy that you're realistically thinking of extension?
It's kind of hard to project because who's going to come in and be the GM, and how cleaned up will the cap be by then?
Right.
You know,
I mean,
I guess I'm asking this from the perspective if you guys were in charge. How you guys
like if you had to pay him going right
out.
If he's healthy and he's still fairly young, man. If he's healthy and he's still getting better, and I mean, he's the kind of guy that could be a very big piece of your offense, not just running, but he can catch too, man. Like, and he's all we've heard all season how much of a leader he's become.
Right.
So if it's not going to strap you to make other moves, it's hard too because the league doesn't value running backs like they used to. So it also depends on Herbert may develop into something. We don't.
Valid points. So you got Justin, Monty, Herbert. Continue.
No, go ahead, Jerry. I don't want to take the whole roster.
Oh, well,
not like there's many more after
Justin,
that,
Monty, Herbert. I think you found something in Larry Borum. I think he needs to work on he gets bulled a little bit, but I think overall
hands.
You got Jenkins too. That you got to see what you got there. So I'm going to call him a fucking Lego of a building block right now.
Well, last two, it's a good point. You hope that they're building blocks moving forward, but they're at least going to be a part of the picture because they're young, cost-controlled players. So I think there's one valid.
There's one more young player that's not going to be cost-controlled that you might have to make a decision on, and that's James Daniels. He's still young.
I don't think he's going to command top dollar, man.
He's getting over $10 million per year. That guard market is thin, man. It is,
and I think that's a guy that you might have to secure because your draft capital's gone.
I don't
know. Most part.
Can
you put him at center, which we know he plays?
Screaming for that.
Maybe you move him back to center and you sign him to a guard deal and you overpay for him, which would be completely Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like those are pieces.
I think a big part of that conversation is going to center around Cody, though. What they end up doing with him. Do they move on from him? Do they not? Because if you move on from Cody, you're probably not switching Daniels over to center because then you have two holes at guard. And unless a new coaching staff comes in and signals differently, I don't think they view Bars as a full-time starter, unfortunately, for whatever reason.
As much as you like Lord Brady and that whole crew, they wanted Alex Bars in New England.
No.
They were going to pluck him off the practice squad.
Yeah.
Instead, we got Rashawn Coward.
If McDaniels came in here, he would.
I think Alex Bars could play guard very easily. And I think you saw it a couple of times last year where it was actually pretty good. Not overpowering, but not detrimental.
I had to give that McDaniels cup. Sorry, Biscuits. Just wanted to keep it real.
I can't mention Lord Brady, but he can. I'm going to have a Josh McDaniels word counter up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. We're just going to count how many times Diddy mentions them.
It's just the mindset, man. It would be a total shift in dynamic.
One guy y'all have not mentioned on the offense is Darnell Mooney. What is Darnell Mooney's cap moving forward? Is he a high-end 2? Is he a 3? I think
He's a
we're
2
all
till he catches the fucking football consistently.
We'll find out this week.
Another guy we didn't mention is Cole Kmet, and I think that's another piece that
He's
he
young.
can. Yeah, he's young,
He's young.
but he's a young guy. You know, we have a lot of old fucks. We do. We got a bunch of old motherfuckers on this team, but we do have a few kind of decent young pieces that need to develop.
He's not being coached up correctly, though. He's not.
None of them are.
No, I mean, like Komet, even when he gets the ball in space, he tries to juke like he's a little guy. And like I said last week, he plays small for some reason. It's almost like he doesn't realize how big he is. Like, box out, dude. That instinct's not there. And some of that's not some of that's instinctual, right? But you could still have a coach in there that could toughen him up that way.
You can actually visually see that in that red zone pass where Justin misses him on the first drive. He's
like,
juking right.
Yeah.
He jukes right, and then he comes back left, and Justin goes with this initial juke right. It's like, just go with your – I mean, you're overthinking it, man. Be big. Be strong.
Yeah, and to parlay into Jared's point about this, roster being a tad bit older and going into sort of tying into what the offensive building blocks are. I don't know if y'all saw Jonathan Wood's thread that he put out yesterday. So the Bears have 5 veterans making over $5 million a year on offense. Allen Robinson, Cody Whitehair, Andy Dalton, Nick Foles, and Jimmy Graham. Those are your top 5 highest paid players on offense, and you're getting very little production from them.
I'd see you, Jared, but you got that. They might not free up as much money as you think because there's dead cap, isn't there? Because of all the
So if you get rid of Nick Foles,
the bad contracts.
Get rid of Nick Foles, it only saves you $3 million. You already know you're losing Andy Dalton because it was on a 1-year deal. So I think the most likely thing you'll see is Nick Foles back as the backup under Justin, and I wouldn't totally hate that. He's a decent backup for not a whole lot of money.
Should have been that way from the start of the season.
100%. I don't think bringing in Dalton gave you that much more.
Actually, it should have been in reverse 3 years ago. We should have had Foles on the 1-year deal. We should have had fucking Dalton on a 3-year deal.
You want 3 years of Dalton?
Whoa.
As a backup?
Whoa.
Would you rather pay Nick Foles for 3 years or Andy Dalton for 3 years?
I don't think at that point 3 years ago, Andy Dalton was accepting a 3-year contract at backup level money.
Honestly, though, the question was, would you rather have Dalton or Foles as a backup? Okay, sure.
At least Dalton moves a little bit. The human statue that is Foles will get killed. And then you'll be in the QB market again if Fields goes down.
Dalton's been hurt twice this season, right?
Right.
Yeah.
He's not moving that great, bro.
So yeah, he might provide.
I know what you're saying. More than Foles, but
he provides more mobility than Foles. But when I look at a backup, I'm looking at someone who is cost controlled, who has the ability to step in for maybe a game or two, and give you some utility. I mean, if you're talking about on an extended stretch from a backup quarterback, your season's likely toast anyways, unless you've built a hell of a roster and catch fire like Philly did in 17.
You want
crazy, right?
I would love,
protect the asset.
Look, my whole reasoning with that is he probably sucks, but just see what you have. What's the point of playing these other guys and you already know what they are? But that's what the Bears do. They don't ever. How long did it take them to go to Snowden?
And Nagy brought him here because he was in Kansas City.
Right.
Yeah. Real tape grinder.
Yeah. Any update on Snowden? I haven't. I should probably check into that more. But
you're the official Snowden tracker. God damn.
Yeah, it wasn't on the injury report, so
good.
Jared's trying to call me a Snowden blower.
But I don't.
Snowden blower. He's
like, you're the Snowden tractor.
Snowden track.
But I believe he's still back on the practice squad though. They haven't called him back up.
Okay.
He's protected, right?
But
I think you said that earlier. He's protected.
Yep. Him, Isaiah Coulter, Thomas Graham, and there was one other guy.
Get rid of Irvin. Get rid of Irvin, and let's see some Snowden. Let's if he's healthy. What are we doing running these old fucks out here?
I mean, at this point, right?
I mean, you got to see what you have, and now this is one time where if you're an ownership group like McCaskey's, wouldn't you be like, "Hey, it's time. This season's over. You're no longer in the hunt."
They need to evaluate depth, but if you're not keeping pace, who's evaluating the depth? Just to put it out there on film, I guess, for the next guy.
Yeah, that's exactly why you do it. You put it out there to have it on tape.
Yeah,
they played Bruce Irvin more snaps last week than Travis Gibson, which I think is just a huge crime. It's because Travis Gibson's not that good. Yeah, but we're talking. So on one hand, I can evaluate that tape pretty easy. He's not good.
He's not horrible.
Travis Gibson, I mean, he's shown flashes. At the very least, he's a young guy still. You already know what Bruce Irvin is. He celebrates Aaron Rodgers tripping on the turf and him touching him. He's like, "Oh, huge sack! Oh, I'm shoveling the ground."
He was there, though.
Guy. I mean, yeah, true. Say what you want. I've seen more production out of him that game than we did out of Bruce Irvin. You know, Bruce Irvin is not going to be a piece moving forward. I don't see why there was any reason to give that guy more snaps than Travis. I completely agree. I completely agree with that. And it's the same thing with Jenkins and Peters. I like Jace Peters. Great guy. He's played well for us. Better than we would have ever expected. It's time to play Jenkins. It's time. It's time to see what you have.
I don't think he's going to be back.
Would you be back we're in our 40s.
No, I'm just saying.
If my ankle was fried, I don't care how much you shot me up with. I'd just be done and be like, fuck, I'm out.
I think whoever had that done to their ankle, no matter what their age was, man, he got fucked up. Like, he got stepped on and pushed in a little bit. I think anybody who doesn't, regardless of age, probably wouldn't be back the next week.
Right.
You know, it's been impressive. I'm honestly surprised he's played this long.
Yeah, I am too. He's way exceeded anything that I would have thought. I think he's been our second best lineman behind James Daniels. Personally, I think he's first by a lot.
He made the position better than what we had last year.
Yeah, and I'll tell you who I think our second best lineman has been. I think it's been Larry Borum. I think James Daniels has had a sneaky quiet year. And he's playing I've seen him get turned and chasing people a lot.
Borum has only been in how many games, though, Jerry?
I'm just telling you. I mean, I think for what we brought him in for as a fifth round pick, right? Fifth round. And he just thrown out into the starting role. He's been better than I would have guessed, too. Whereas Peters, I really thought was toast, and James Daniels is also playing next to Sam Mustipher. I do human liability. So I do think there is something to say there.
I was just going to say that both our guards have to deal with Mustipher.
He is the why. Found it. Tell me about it, Olin. And that's the thing that I like what I've seen from Larry Borum, but I just always caution to it's like Diddy said, it's only been 5 starts, maybe 4 or 5 starts. So
I just say
he's basically last year. This fan base,
dogs, though. I'll give him that.
No, for sure, and he's done well. But last year, everybody was pumping their chest about Mustipher. Oh, we found a gem. He's our starting center moving forward after a pretty decent 5-game stretch, and now we come to find out, okay, he's not that guy. So I just throw caution to the wind that yes, while what we've seen from Larry Borum has been positive so far, things change quick in the NFL. I don't think I could pencil him in as I can count on this guy to lock up my right tackle for the next 5, 6, 7 years. That's the only thing I'm saying. What I'm saying is, for a rookie being put on an island a lot, as you've all seen, fair. He's held up. He's held up well. A lot better than Sam. Better than your boy Fetty. Yeah. Absolutely.
And we all have that one guy that we're off on. It is what it is.
Oh, that's okay. I'm used to I'm off on a lot of shit. It's no big deal. because I'm not an expert. Ever.
Well,
I'm not
none
an
of us
expert.
are, but we all
I'm a
have
fan.
one guy we get our balls busted that we like. You know what I mean? Like,
I got a couple of them. Receiver.
Oh, Snowden, you could bust my balls all day because I thought he'd at least be on the roster.
Hey, I was pumping my chest.
Well,
Danny
I think
T
this
at the beginning of the offseason, and
he looked good coming out of camp. Boy, the wheels just fell off.
Breaks my
immediately.
heart, man. Breaks my heart.
That's a big problem with this group, this management group.
What player do you guys want to see? Sorry, go ahead, Jerry.
They spent the money on the wrong people. I think Kwiatkowski was younger. He would provide you something more than what you're going to get. What you got out of Danny Trevathan.
What's he doing now?
Oh, I'm sure he's still active on a roster.
Yeah, he's active on a roster, but I don't think he's lived up to that contract that Las Vegas.
I'm not
did.
saying that. No, I don't think so either. But you gave basically a very similar contract to Trevathan, right?
I think Danny was cheaper.
Yeah, Kwiatkowski got more. Now the cap hits look a little bit worse for Danny because it was a shorter term deal than he got, but
they chose experience over youth.
Sorry, I got to do it again, but Diddy will like this one. Yakub in the chat says Snowden deserves to be on a roster, though. That's a Nagy decision more than a result for talent.
Yep. I agree.
I absolutely do agree with that. I think he should be on the. What about Little Mac? Where's he at?
He
was playing.
Yeah, he played up a little. He got a half sack that 1 week.
Yeah, got a half sack. I mean, the idea. What are you doing? I mean, what are you doing if you're a coach? It's time. It's time to put the youth in. It's time to see what we got.
He doesn't give a shit.
Well, that's the thing.
He should, and that's part of the problem. He should give a shit.
But if you know you're on your way out the door, seemingly, aren't you going to rely on a veteran over trying to develop young talent?
Yeah, because you're looking for your next job at this point.
How's that working out? Half your veterans said, peace.
I think that honestly, man, yes, and Nagy's part of the problem, but let's not give Pace any freaking slack either. This is
no.
Pace
Absolutely,
has been here a long time.
We have depth pieces, but the depth pieces are not doing anything.
There are times in the NFL where coaches that aren't really good look a lot better with talent.
True.
What's talent?
I'm just saying. Not giving him this. He's a horrible coach. It's definitely playing in, but I
think that's fair. No, I think
just
it's fair.
Just hear me out here. Plays are designed. Plays are perfectly designed, right? Because if they're executed, they work. Even if you're a bad play caller,
right?
If you beat your man and get open, and the quarterback gets the ball where it's supposed to go, the shit works.
Except for sticks routes. We run too many of those.
I'm just saying, it's a clusterfuck. It's not just one thing. It's also talent, and that's on Pace.
It's a good question from Chris again. Doesn't playing younger talent during this adversity demonstrate that he has coaching potential, though? It's selflessness. Nagy lacks that, and I completely agree with that. He does lack that.
I think it all depends on how management looks at it at that point. Are they looking at it? Because obviously you're going to struggle more so developing your young talent most times than you would playing a trusted veteran. So it's going to look a lot uglier execution-wise, which we were just talking about. So is management going to see that? I don't think George and Ted are smart enough to see the trees beyond the forest. I don't.
With the COVID situation, I think you're forced to play the younger guys too now, which
absolutely.
This might be a blessing.
I will give Nagy credit for this. The fact that he hasn't lost his shit yet with the media. Like a coach on their way out knowing it. The dude
he knows it too.
But he seems to be he just doesn't let shit face him. It's pretty impressive. Because I'd like to see a meltdown just to see that the dude has feelings.
Right. Right.
Like just a little meanness. There's nothing. There's
he definitely hasn't lost it like Trestman lost it.
But he's just so robotic.
Well, he had help with that too.
And he's not cut from the same cloth as Urban Meyer. Whoever the fuck put that on Twitter is an idiot.
Cut from the same cloth.
That was just the stupidest damn article. I don't know if y'all caught that one.
I don't read that shit.
Just clickbait shit.
Yeah, I'm kind of over the that shit.
The blog boys.
No, not necessarily. I mean, some guys, some bloggers are okay with their writing, but it is what it is. It'd be like saying we're a radio station.
WNBC.
Yeah, trying to fake like we're like a radio show or something. It's just that's not what we know who
We're not
we
a
are.
network.
I'm just
This is
I'm
HMD
just saying.
Studios, bro.
No, I mean they're basically doing the writing version of what we're doing. So I'm not going to go too hard in the paint, but at the same time, everybody complains about it. Everybody advertises it for them, so they actually get more clicks on the hot take bullshit, and
That's
people
true.
buy right into it and complain about it and retweet the fuck out of it. And they probably got more clicks on that author's article than he's ever gotten before.
He got no clicks. He got no likes.
Clicks
Not
pays,
from this guy.
Clicks pays the bills, bro.
No
Well,
clicky
just call it
clicks,
a
no
mockery
likey likes.
show. That's what we'll do then.
I mean, shit. Lambert gets like destroyed all the time on the regular.
Yeah, he's still pumping it out though, ain't he?
It's called sports mockery, and we all get pissed off about it. It's a mockery. They're telling you what it is. Like, it's like the Onion. It's like getting
Valid
pissed off
point.
at the Onion. You know what I mean? Like they cover
So
their asses.
you were about to ask something before we went on a.
Who, me?
Wow.
No, Brian was.
Oh,
Was I?
it's like,
Yeah, I
damn, it's
think
edible
so.
hit. I've done forgot. So okay, just circle back. We're kind of all over the damn place.
I was
here,
just
but
gonna. I was just sorry. I was gonna ask one player that you think needs to you want to see step up.
Biggest part. I want to see Tevin Jenkins step up. He had a rough first outing against Green Bay.
Yeah, me too.
You are the second round pick. You are expected to play that left tackle position. You are the future of the left tackle position in the eyes of the people that drafted you. Show it. Let's run for a $185. Fucking yeah, let's get after it. And it's up to you.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna have a test. That defensive line's pretty fucking good in Minnesota. Daniil Hunter is not a joke.
yeah, he was on my list. That's a good one, Jer. I'll go next. I'm gonna take maybe an under the radar one. I'm gonna go with Alec Ogletree. I think you already know what Roquan brings to the table. Alec Ogletree
running.
not only needs to be good against the rush with Dalvin Cook, but as Jer alluded to earlier, with Conklin running some of those flat routes, they do run him up the seam occasionally. Ogletree really needs to have a damn good game if we want to be successful on defense.
Agree.
I'm gonna say Justin, man, and it's from the standpoint that there's a lot of shit going on around him. For him to step up, release the ball quicker, you know what I mean? Like if he can carry this team to a win with everything that's going on around him, that's what I want to see. Because those are the moments that let you know, not just guess. And I don't want Nagy to get credit for it because I think that ship sailed. I just want to see if Justin can actually pull off looking better with everything that's going on around him this week. That's great for us going forward. So
yeah.
And it's a lot to ask a rookie to do. A lot.
It is.
That's the one thing I was wrong about too, by the way, is I really thought Justin would be more Nagy proof than what he's been. Almost what like Deshaun Watson did with O'Brien coming in.
I think he will be.
I don't think he's not pace proof.
No, it's a Nagy thing.
It's a Nagy and it's a pace proof. That it's
Dalton hasn't looked great either, and Dalton's a quarterback that should be at least like Brian Hoyer-esque, where he's not going to lose you a game.
Right.
With this guy, it's just like you can't even make those guys look decent. It's just not. He's not a good coach. He's not. The identity of his offense still doesn't exist. He's total shit. I mean, he's Trestman. Trestman's offense actually looked a lot better than Nagy's ever has. So I can't say that.
Although there's a lot of junk time because the defense was getting blown the fuck out. I think we forget that as Bears fans. That
No.
defense was horse shit.
And it's
Yeah,
not
we
like
were
they
already
had-
down 30.
Too.
we hated Tucker, right? But isn't he like college coach of the year this year? It's not like he was a horrible coach. That was such an aging defense.
Whatever.
It was. You had
Fire
no
that-
buy-in from those guys on that side of the ball, the veterans that were left after Levy got jettisoned.
I don't know where he's at. He's at Michigan State, right? Well, fire that fucker again. Fuck Mel Tucker. I never
he just
liked
got
him.
paid big time.
I know. What are you
I don't
talking
think he's.
about?
I don't think he's going
Good.
anywhere.
I'm glad he's at Michigan State. I'm happy for that.
Didn't he just get college coach of the year?
I
Great.
believe so.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
We'll see how that works out next year. He wasn't worth a shit the first year, so.
Damn, someone hates Michigan State. Low key.
No, somebody hates Mel Tucker.
Wasn't he running Georgia's defense for a long time too?
Bama.
Was it Bama's defense? I thought it was Georgia.
I think it was Bama. I don't know. You'd have
Oh.
to look.
I don't want to be a Mel Tucker defender, but the dude was working with like Ego Ferguson. What was that other guy, Sutton, on the defensive line? Like,
Yeah, he was
didn't exactly
Yeah,
have
all
a dearth
packed
of
in.
talent here.
all packed in defensive player of the year or some shit. That guy, Will Sutton? Yeah, he was pretty good.
Oh, in college, maybe in the
Yes.
NFL, he didn't do shit.
Wonder why that is. Was he developed properly?
Oh man! So now we're saying that Will Sutton would have been.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying he would have been productive.
So it's Mel. So Mel Tucker ruined Will Sutton. That's what you're trying to say.
He ruined the whole defense. He helped.
Mel Tucker had success before Chicago, though. I mean, I'm not trying to defend the guy. I'm just saying his talent on that side of the ball.
I will
was
never
pretty much
forgive him.
non-existent.
I'll never forget him when they changed schemes. They put guys in different schemes.
No,
that were
that's
successful.
a fair criticism.
And that is where you get your failure at. Why do you change out of a cover two when you've got guys that run it all the time? Why? Because you're an egomaniac shit coach.
But even the guys that could run it,
Fuck Mel
were
Tucker.
old and washed. At
You're
that
not.
point.
You will never convince me that Mel Tucker was a good defensive coach. Never.
I'm not
I don't-
saying he was good. I'm just saying I don't think we would have been compared to the Rochester Jeffersons that year had the
Fuck that guy.
talent acquisition by Emory been a little bit better. I mean, come on. One of his safeties was Brandon Harden for a minute.
He was a 5th round pick also, right? From
Who was
Oregon
hurt? Who had
State.
neck injuries? A history of them. I'm just saying, in true Bears fashion, just like it is now, it's never one problem. It's multiple layers of issues that give you the final steaming pile of shit that ends up on your face every week on Sundays. It's talent, it's coaching, it's execution, it's all of the above.
All right. Let's get back on track after we have.
That's enough Mel Tucker talk. Jesus.
Yo, shit. Fire
Good
that fuck.
Lord.
Sorry.
I had to go take a piss. I don't really care what you guys I knew it was going to go on for a few minutes, so I was like, cool. I'll bounce.
Like, this isn't Josh McDaniels talk. I'm going to go take a piss.
No, I was just going down a rabbit hole of Mel Tucker, and I brought it up, so I kind of just let it ride.
All right, so you're one player that needs to step up, Diddy.
Justin Fields, you already said it.
You don't pay attention, bro. He's getting in that zone.
The
you know what I mean?
edibles is fully taking hold, boys. Okay.
Oh yeah, we got in a full-fledged argument. I wasn't even being serious, and I'm like, oh man, I don't want to do this like live. This isn't cool. Like, I'm giving you like a discount, bro. I'm like, come on, I'm not gonna bury you on our show. That's not cool.
Oh
yeah, that's a spot reserved
on.
for me.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna tag team with Yoku, and we'll bury you on this pod. All right,
biscuits.
No, you won't.
Dude, you can roast me like my steak. Okay, I don't care. I can take it.
You gotta tell me what that brand edible is, bro. That's crazy.
And that's how you take care of that.
Crazy talk. So, what do you guys want to do? Score predictions now?
Yes, I think we will.
Might be a good time.
Hi, welcome back, Biscuits.
Oh, ready?
Oh, you're lucky. Ready? I was writing a note. You're lucky.
Hey,
that's what it was. Just for
Biscuits.
Diddy.
Hey, Biscuits. Can you hit him with that hot game score prediction?
I'd actually like to talk about something else real quick while we're on the subject of defense, if that's okay. And then we can throw it to score predictions. So we talked about young building blocks on offense. We were talking about Mel Tucker and his shitty defense. What are the building blocks on the defensive side of the ball?
Okay, that's a fair question. Roquan.
Who you're going to be paying $20-some million to per year?
It depends.
Which you should.
If the next guy comes in and wants to run a cover too, Roquan would be really, really nasty in a cover two. So
yes, he would.
Jalen.
I think he transcends scheme too, though. I think he could play in pretty much any defense you put him out there.
You already got to pick Roquan, bro. Like, it's slim pickings. Like, you mentioned more than one. We're going to be in trouble with ours. But go ahead.
Oh, me?
Yeah. You threw out Roquan. I'm like, okay, I can't pick Roquan. And then you're like, in Jalen. I'm like, oh God, where am I going to go? It's like,
I know. That's the sad part.
I think everybody else is pretty much. Is that it?
I think everybody else is pretty much expendable in my book.
You haven't seen Snowden hit the field yet.
What about Bilal?
What about him?
Waiting.
Like a guy that should have taken a huge step forward this year that really hasn't.
Do you feel like scheme hurt this team?
We knew we had the oldest roster in the league. Everybody's like, oh, it's by only 2 years and it's because of this and that. Like they got the key parts of that defense we're getting old.
No.
Like the people that we need in there all the time and are the most dominant physically.
Yeah.
And it's surprising neither one of you said Quinn or Mac.
They're not building blocks, they're old.
They're on the back nine.
Not disagreeing. I'm just trying to get just get your opinions on those two.
I mean, Khalil, like for what we
paid for.
Who was that trade? Like, what side was that trade good for?
I mean, ultimately, if you want to boil it down to who won that trade, clearly the Bears. I think they've got
Josh Jacobs is still on the field, right?
He is.
And there's like 75 kids.
I don't think there's. I don't know. I don't.
Well, at least we have a 12-4 season under our belts. Khalil's been more productive, I would say, than Josh Jacobs. Who was the other guy? I think Damon Arnett, who hasn't really done shit.
He's not even on the team anymore.
Yeah, he just signed with somebody this week.
Yeah, Jacobs is the only guy left on the Raiders for that team. So, I mean, that's really it's a heads-up trade running back, which for a pass rusher. So,
and honestly, we would have blown those 2 first-round picks anyways, most likely.
I wish we had one this year.
It was a move. It wasn't the right timing for that move, though. That move accelerated expectations to a level that threw things off. Like you almost put a young quarterback in a pressure cooker.
Yeah, so you almost got lightning in a bottle too.
Yeah, it was all predicated on
fault Pace for making that move. I really can't.
I'm not.
I don't fault him either.
I just don't think.
If I give him credit for anything.
The hype we felt when we pulled it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was, I think at that time when that happened, we were talking about you listening to whenever we got Cutler. You were really excited about that and how the whole amp of the city just changed.
Yeah.
Right. Everything just changed about the Bears, the way people felt about it. Then you get Khalil Mack coming off of, I mean, it was like, oh shit, we're going for it. It's like they're really going for it.
And that first week against the Packers, man, it really seemed like, man.
Till the end, when we couldn't fucking beat the Packers.
But Khalil's impact in that game, it was like, okay, we got ourselves a dog here.
And then Aaron Rodgers came back and teabagged us. So that game really doesn't even fucking matter.
Oh,
it felt good.
They could have brought Shanahan in as OC and just paid him at whatever level he was making when they brought Cutler here.
Yeah.
But anyway. As far as other pieces, though, I mean,
so you got Roquan and Jalen, that's it.
I mean, you might see what Thomas Graham is eventually.
Yeah, but I don't think you consider him a young.
Who's the other young safety that we have?
I'd like to see. I mean, I would have liked to see more of Tonga.
Yeah,
glimpses there in the beginning.
I can't think of what that guy's name is. Tease Tabor. I'm interested in Tease Tabor. I think that's a kid that might develop. Yeah, I mean, he had some run there for a little bit. Wasn't too bad. I thought he played pretty well whenever what's his nuts was out, 38.
I love that Jared loves like all the obscure players like Tease Tabor, Angelo Blackson.
This team doesn't
we should
come
build
by
an
anything.
all 8-bit team full of like random.
Who's that big dude that
Will
we got
Sutton can get on that line with that team.
What about that
McCullers?
McCullers.
The big boy that from Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
McCullers, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Jared loved him some McCullers.
So you got
No,
McCullers,
actually, I didn't.
Sutton, and Blackson. Woo! How about that? Were you a Jerron Gilbert fan?
No. But I wasn't a big on McCullers. I knew he was a big guy. But the problem with being as tall as he is what happens is you can't get as low as the others. Well, I'm just saying in taller players in general.
Leverage.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't get low.
Oh.
I mean, you can't get low and stay low. And as a defensive tackle, you have to get low and you have to create push. What happens is they get high. Offensive linemen are too strong. You give them the pads.
Aaron Donald was too short.
Yes, actually, he's perfect. That's part of the problem with NFL evaluating. Smaller guys are perfect because they're hard to fucking get your hands on. How do you hit a target that's 3 inches smaller than you and your arms are long and gangly? I mean,
yeah, it's a curse, but I live with it, you know.
I know it.
What, him going one pick before?
Yeah.
He said smarter guys are hard to get your hands on.
Yeah, dude, it went way over my head, man.
It's all right. I had to repeat it, so I didn't deliver it well. Yeah,
I'm in full. So, looking at it, we got Justin, Monty, Herbert, Borum, Jenkins, Mooney, Roquan, and Jalen. We're going into an off season with $44 million of cap space, only 26 players under contract, and short on draft capital.
Yep.
That hurts.
Write that down for like January.
Yep. Actually, write that down for as soon as the season's over. That motherfucker.
Score predictions, anyways.
And the only reason I'm saying it, bro, I love the discussion, but God, we're gonna have nothing to talk about in the offseason.
We have nothing to talk about now. That's why I'm bringing it up.
That's part of the problem.
Wait, get to the score predictions. That's why we have nothing to fucking talk about. This is gonna be brutal. Jerry, you want to kick it off?
How do you predict? You don't know who's gonna be on the field.
My prediction ain't changing either way. That's how bad this thing's gonna be.
The Vikings, in true Viking fashion, find a way to choke this game away. Bears 24, Vikings 21. Carlos Santos from 49 yards for the win.
I think Jared got into my edible stash here somehow.
Minnesota, I'm just telling you, they've led in every game. They have a way of finding a way to lose. We're trying to find whys. They're trying to find why the fuck. They can't find it either. Minnesota's wildly inconsistent, and they won't have tape on guys, so I think there's a chance.
And we're consistently bad.
We are who we thought we were.
But I love your optimism, Jer. I do.
Bears win for no other reason.
All right.
I got 31-21 Minnesota.
No other analysis behind that. Just 31-21 Minnesota.
No, we'll get like a garbage time touchdown just to like make it not sting as bad.
We were competitive.
So it's only really
Green Bay last week.
Points, I mean, and you're just throwing in a garbage one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. What'd you say, Jer?
We were competitive against Green Bay last week. I mean,
for a half.
They can't.
The roster ain't changing much more than what it
all right.
did, thinking about it.
I like the energy, bro, but they were coming off a bye with a guy with a fucking broken toe.
Yokub says Diddy sounds so defeated. Yeah, I think we all are.
Welcome to Bears
honestly.
fandom.
I'm
First
just
time.
saying the Packers never come out smoking off a bye, man. They take a minute to warm up.
True.
The second half wasn't
True.
close.
No, it wasn't.
Dude, their special teams is awful. Terrible.
That might be what gets them. All right, your turn, Biscuits.
All right, so y'all want the minute by minute scoring breakdown this week?
Yes. Let's have it all.
I'm just joking. I'm taking Minnesota, sadly, 34-13. Because we suck. Our defense is going to get exposed. And, yeah. Dalvin Cook just ran against the Steelers defense for over 200 yards. I could see him repeating that again this week. And my fantasy team
Akeem's
would love
back.
him for it.
Akeem is back. It makes a difference.
Yeah, it does. That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah, it helps. It certainly helps, but I think we have problems setting that edge right now. That's something that Mac was very underrated at doing. I just see them running all up and down us. I think Jalen's going to get burned quite a few times by Justin Jefferson. And I think Osborne's going to have a sneaky good game on the other side because we're rolling out.
The problem with Jefferson is you got to have help with the safety, and I don't know where our safeties are. So,
especially if Eddie doesn't go.
Right.
Yeah. So 34-13. That's it. Book it.
Any shade, fellas?
Ourselves for still talking about this team.
I think I pretty much threw my Mel Tucker shade earlier, so I feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, you have like a weird hatred of Mel Tucker.
What he did to that defense, and
did he like spurn Indiana at one point in time? Is that what happened?
No.
Oh, okay. I'm just trying to look
my Bears,
backstory.
man.
Just curious.
Spurned my Bears. Put guys out of position and expected things just to be fucking sweet. How'd that work out? Took the Bears defense from, was it a top 15 prior to that year when he got there, and automatically dropped them into the lower half, 28, 29, 30s, I believe. Fuck that guy.
I'd have to go back and look at the stats on that
one. Fuck that guy.
Let's see.
Who are you talking about?
Fire Mel Tucker again.
But didn't we lose Urlacher like that in between those two off seasons? I'm pretty sure. Tillman was hurt. Briggs was out there opening up his fucking double nickel rib joint. Like he wasn't even invested.
I'm just saying. Defense. Peanut was still there,
and he was hurt for most of that season.
Yeah, I fuck Mel Tucker. That's all I got to say.
It's a lot of Mel Tucker talk. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I apologize.
Shade on me for talking about Mel Tucker. God.
That's my shade for the week. Yeah. No, I'm joking. No, I really don't have any shade this week. I think
shade on Biscuits for throwing us all off with his chatterbait.
Look, I don't even know what to say anymore about this team. I just don't.
Shout out to myself for showing composure.
Yeah, look at you.
Thank you very
composure. Much. Get the fuck out of here.
He really doesn't know, man. It's funny. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to do this, right? So we've had some great comments in the chat tonight, and one from Mr. Yakub. Diddy, you sound so defeated, bro.
Hey, we already talked about that. Hey, producer, remember what we talked about?
Shade on Yakub.
No shade. No shade at all.
No, we love it.
There's a way to go about it.
Yeah, I'm here to mess it all up. So
no, the moderation. That's all. It's good. But no, shade. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't reply to that. If you did put it on here, bro. But yeah, I'm defeated. I'm defeated as a fan right now. My God, like this.
You guys are getting in basketball arguments during football season. That tells you all you need to know.
Yeah, I've never got. I've never.
Go IU.
I'm just saying, man. It's been brutal. It's really been brutal. My nerves is bad.
My nerves is bad.
Yeah, man. It's been brutal. So,
oh my god, no doubt. It's not even enjoyable. I mean, some parts it was, but
I mean, we get some closure.
How do you feel like? What do you look for now? I think
Nagy to be fired and Pace to be fired. That's what I'm looking for right now.
I mean, as far as the product on the field,
I want the latter more than anything.
The product on the field, what are you watching for? I mean, we've talked about it. It's like youth, right? That's the only hope, is that some of this youth shows up a little bit.
Yeah, we got to see the young guys and give us a glimpse of what we have to look forward to.
Right. And if Matt Nagy doesn't fucking get that, fire him to the sun immediately after this game.
Okay.
You're going to trot out fucking Irvin? No. What's sad is, like, we're going to have a record-breaking year by a defensive player on a shit team. And it's going to overshadow Richard Dent's here.
It's so
for
weird.
A meaningful team. On a team that did something.
Yeah, I don't. The weird thing is the sack numbers are really high, but the pressures are low. It's just so weird.
I know. I'm just saying.
It's just weird, man.
Home run or bust.
Well, it's coverage. Coverage is good. If it takes more than 3 seconds.
Our coverage is good?
It's good enough to get Robert Quinn as many sacks as he's gotten.
I don't know if I'd say the vast majority of
I'm saying that on the sacks that Quinn has gotten.
Like the one on Roger, the first one on Rogers last week was definitely a coverage sack.
Right. But the sacks that he's gotten are coverage sacks where he's gotten a good jump. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think, like, chipping away 85 to this point in my fandom, we've been holding on to that for a long time, so I'm not really going to get emotional about that.
No, and I don't know that record-breaking year was that 85 for Dent. I don't remember.
I want to say it was 86 or 84.
I think it was 86. That 86 team was even better.
Yeah.
All the more reason that you should have stomped on Aaron Rodgers' fucking foot when you had the chance. Anyway.
Yeah, breaking this back record doesn't. I don't think it means any less to me that it's during a shit season. I think clearly the most disappointing thing is not seeing what we all hoped we would have seen out of Justin so far through this point.
No, I like the fact that Quinn's still showing the effort he is, though, at this point.
Yes, I do too.
And that was one guy we were really upset with, how the performance didn't match the contract. We can't.
Can't say that.
No,
he's about to break a 102-year-old franchise's record.
Right. The guy is showing,
if he can stay healthy.
He's working his ass off. So
yep.
Props to him. We know he's not one of those guys that Jalen was talking about.
Right on.
So
111th. He's a 111th guy. All right, boys.
All right.
My shade's to A-Rob. Sorry, real quick. My shade is to A-Rob.
There you go. There it is.
Poor effort blocking downfield, and then quickly deleting that tweet where he knew he was clearly in the wrong.
Imagine that.
Fuck you, Athrobs.
He got called the fuck out. Good for Bears Twitter. Shout out Bears Twitter for calling him out on it.
The effort was so piss poor. I understand it too. Going on a franchise tag year, obviously looking for his next destination. I think he has way more incentive to be giving more effort than what he's given.
He done checked out, bro.
Well, then fuck him. That's my shade.
I just don't I don't think he's as talented as he used to be either. I think the old body's checking out a little bit on him.
Yep. And I don't think he's gotten any favors with the play calling either. Let's be honest.
No, the route combinations have been terrible for sure.
No, and he's getting knockout shots on stick routes, but it's partly because he doesn't get open. He doesn't beat anybody. He doesn't create separation.
But that's the point that the real number ones do.
The poor fucker can't even afford to plug in his Traeger.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. But yet he got way more production last 2 years with Mitch in the same
Binky.
exact system.
Binky.
Binky.
They're forcing the ball to him.
Well, fuck, let's force it to him some more. I mean, nothing else on offense.
I think we've tried to. At times, we've tried to with certain
I think
receivers.
they forced it to Mooney quite a bit, who can't seem to catch anything lately.
He gets separation, though.
Yeah, it's easier to force to Mooney because he's open.
I guess what my thing is has his lack of elite end speed and separation really changed in 1 year?
Who? Robinson,
yeah.
Elite
speed.
Elite speed.
No. Oh my god.
Yeah.
You're missing my point. What I'm saying is last year he did not have top end speed or elite separation, correct?
Right. Yeah, he hasn't since he's been here.
Okay, but he's produced the last 2 years. So what changed in one off season to where it's drastically different? Where he's a quarter of the way to the production of what he was last year? What has changed?
They're trying to spread the ball out and use other people on the offense.
Yep. And you could also say that the route calls that he's getting are not good. You could say the offensive play calling is bad.
I mean, that's back when they were lining A-Rob up inside too for Mitch just to get the ball to, because they were just quick get it out. He was his binky.
I
mean, I think you also have to criticize the quarterback production a little bit. I don't think anyone's proof here.
I mean,
if Andy Dalton can't get you the ball either, though, dude, come on.
That's what I'm saying.
You want to say Justin can? You can put it on Justin a little bit, but Andy can't get him the ball either. That should tell you all you need to know about where he's at and his effort. And he hasn't played for how many? Why are we talking about a receiver that's played half the season?
Because there's nothing else to talk about, and that was my shade. Was his lack of
good shade,
effort.
and it's well warranted.
Great shade. We're all throwing it out there, so when you can pass the shade around and everybody partakes, that's good shade.
Yeah.
That's all I got, boys.
Puff, puff, pass, kind of shade. I like it.
I don't think I need any more puff, puff, pass here tonight.
No, you're puff, puff.
I would agree with that, but I'm glad you enjoyed yourself, man.
Oh, I did. I felt more invested and animated into our spat than I have in 5 weeks of Bears football since we were in Pittsburgh together. That's it. That's what's fucking sad.
That's what's up.
I'm too old and tired for that energy at this point of the night.
All right, well then let's wrap this bitch up.
All right, fellas. That's just another episode of the Tailgate Show.
Duh. What the fuck? You see, I didn't blow it this time, boys. Duh. Bears variant.
Duh. Here comes COVID clause. Here comes COVID clause. Riding down COVID clause lane. And you all have to suffer through the singing because it's shitty again.
I don't have